So today on the table we have the beautiful E-Flite Cherokee, one of my all-time favorite models. In fact, I have two of them right now in the hangar. This is one of them. I have another one that's been repainted as my grandfather's plane. And the thing that I love about the Cherokee is the classic look, the classic shape, and how E-Flite really did a pretty good job nailing some of the scale details. You know, they had the exposed rivets, the panel lines, the detailed cockpit. It's a good looking airplane right out of the box. However, for me, I kind of want to take it just a little bit step further. It's, like I said, it's great out of the box, but for me, a little bit additional scale details really set the model apart. And I think it's great that if you are creative enough, you can add some small details to your Cherokee. And really, some of these will apply to the timber as well, and even in the Cirrus. You can really kind of enhance the look of the airplane. You give it kind of more of a ramp appeal when you see it on display. In fact, I had this one on display not that long ago at an open house for the local airport. And when it's in the air, it even looks more realistic just by a few key details. So today I'm going to kind of go over some of the things that you can do to improve the appearance and scale look of the E-Flite Cherokee. One of the big ones that always jumped out at me was the wing walk area that is here on the co-pilot side of the aircraft. And it comes from the factory. It's a glossy black sticker. And growing up around Cherokees, that is not a glossy black surface at all. It's grip tape. It's basically like what you would have on a skateboard. It's that type of real coarse material that gives you something that for your feet to grip onto as you climb in and out of the cockpit door. So knowing that that's a major drawback of the scale appearance of the airplane, that's one of the things I really wanted to tackle first. And so what I did is I simply took some 600 grit black sandpaper. It's 3M sandpaper. I got it at, like, I don't know, either Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, anywhere really has 600 grit sandpaper. And that has really what I consider the closest scale look to both the color and the texture. So I just kind of traced out the shape of the wing walk area, and then I just transferred that traced shape right down over to the sandpaper. Cut the shape out, and then I used an Elmer's spray adhesive, and there's a lot of different spray adhesives you can use, so it doesn't really matter. And then I just, on this particular one, I just stuck it right down over the black decal. On the other model I have, I completely repainted the airplane, so I had removed the decal and put it right on the white paint. But here, because this is really more of my primary flying Cherokee, not necessarily a show model, I just stuck the grip tape right over the decal and made sure I got it on the flap as well. And then just if you need to, if it lifts up in the corners, just a little bit of additional glue will really make it stick. And that really kind of enhances the appearance of and the scale effect of the wing, makes it look more like a real Cherokee. Moving up from there, you can see I ran over the door outline with a black permanent marker. I would say fairly mixed results on that. It looked actually better until I added a layer of clear coat over the surface here, and it began to run just a little bit. But it's a fairly easy thing to do with a really fine tip Sharpie, and you can kind of give a little bit more scale appearance here of the door. One of the other things that I really did on the aircraft was I robbed the parts bin at E-Flite, and their Cirrus model comes with a whole collection of scale details. It's got little GPS antennas, radio antennas, footstep, handles, all sorts of little plastic parts. And because of the scale size is so similar between the Cirrus and the Cherokee, those really apply very well to either aircraft. In fact, I'd say the timber is the same way. You could stick these on the timber as well. The other airplane I borrowed from, which is in the Horizon Hobby family, is the FMS Skytrainer, because I think they have a wonderful set of antennas that are dirt cheap. I'm talking like $2.99, $3, something like that for a set of antennas. And I think they're a little bit more stout of an antenna than come with the Cirrus, but basically the same scale, so it works really well. So from the scale details of additional pieces, I robbed from the Skytrainer and the Cirrus. And for that, I have the footstep right down here, and I actually put a little piece of sandpaper glued to the top of it for a grip surface. I have an additional radio antenna that I used here, And I didn't put any more scale details glued onto this airplane, even though I have them and I can use them. I have the antennas that can go on the tail. I got an antenna that goes on the bottom. I didn't want to go too crazy on this. The only reason is because this one, being the fact that it goes to the flying field all the time, I didn't want to add too many things that get bumped and knocked off and damaged, but I wanted to add just enough to kind of give you that little bit extra scale appearance. And the additional radio antenna and the footstep really go a long way to make that happen. You can add as many more antennas as you would like, because there really is no standard that I've found. A lot of the airplanes have multiple different antennas and GPS things stuck all over them, so you can get as creative as you want it to be with that. Just use the Cirrus or the Skytrainer parts bags and you can really have some fun with it. I have seen some guys add the tail antennas on the Cherokee and it looks great, but I know from reading the forums on the Cirrus, they tend to get busted off here really easily, so I decided to skip those. Alright, next on the way to improve the scale look of your airplane is adding some decals, and this particular one is also a Cherokee 180 model, at least I'm considering it a 180 for me. So I added some additional vents and to the cowl as well. So all the decals that are not factory installed on this came right from Callie Graphics. She does all the graphics on my airplanes. And I actually went out and photographed a number of PA-28 models or aircraft, full-scale aircraft at the local airport. And I started a collection of the nomenclature stickers, and also you get, I had her make these little window vent for the pilot here, which really kind of helps draw some attention to the kind of bland greenhouse here. Even though you have a detailed interior, you know that that little vent should be there, so it adds that detail to it. And then I had her go through and add little nomenclature decals, no step decals, the avgas, the type of fuel rating that goes on here. I have do not push stickers, no push, an ELT one on the other side here. In fact, our nomenclature sheet has probably, I don't know, a dozen or so decals, and I couldn't find where they all went because as I found a lot of the ones that are currently being flown, a lot of the decals get lost or painted over or just disappeared over the years. So I don't know exactly where they all go, but Callie has produced them. And if you pick up the nomenclature kit from Callie, you'll include a complete set of markings that you can detail your Cherokee with. And as I said, I made this a Cherokee 180, so there's some additional, they're going to be really tough to see here on the camera, but right on the lower corners of the cowl on both sides, there's some vents down there to allow for some additional cooling. And those are just clear rectangular, clear decals that I've added, and I basically scaled them the best I could looking at pictures. And then finally added the Macaulay sticker and the white markers on the tip of the props. And I fly this exclusively off of grass, and really the paint's been holding up remarkably well. There's just a few little chips on there from hitting grass blades, but really if you've been around Cherokees enough, or really any propeller driven airplane, you know that you're going to get chips and stuff on the props, so it really kind of makes it look more realistic. Since this one is more of a primary flyer, I decided to go just add a little bit of weathering to it. I don't like my general aviation airplanes to be nearly as dirty as a Warbird with like a B-17 with 100+ missions on it. I tend to want these to be fairly clean, hangar capped, nice looking airplane. So I didn't go crazy on the weathering, but using a kind of a light gray, light to medium gray charcoal pencil, I went around and just kind of outlined some of the detail around the cowl, because those do get opened and closed and you do get some dirt around there. I went around the latches and added just a little bit of oil streaking that comes out of the cowl, because even if the airplane is well kept, let's say you went on a flight for an hour or so and landed, you're probably going to have just a little bit of dirt and grime that comes out of the engine. So I just wanted to add a little bit of weathering just to kind of give you that extra touch. And then to finally finish the entire airplane off, instead of repainting it and trying to make it look that much better with paint, because once again, this is a primary flyer, I don't want to spend 6 months of filling and painting. I decided just to give it a complete coat of Varathane high gloss clear with it's got UV inhibitor, and it's the outdoor version of it, so it should protect it from yellowing. Makes the foam very easy to clean up, And also when you, the red paint on the factory model is kind of a matte finish. When you go over it with the high gloss, really makes that red it really pops out on you. And when you add the gloss clear to the wings, it reflects nicely of the fuselage down on that. And when you fly it in the evenings, you see the sunset bouncing off all the different surfaces of the airplane, and it really makes it look beautiful. So a gloss coat over the top, not only does it protect the foam, it makes it easy to clean, it really makes the airplane look a lot more beautiful, and it seals all your decals and weathering in as well. So with a little bit of work, you can turn your E-Flite Cherokee into a much more scale-looking model with really not a lot of effort. So I hope you guys enjoyed some of the tips that we've gone over today on how to make your Cherokee look better. And like I said, these will also transfer over to the Timber model as well if you're trying to look more, add more scale details to that.